So, I got into a car accident this past April, and it was while I was on vacation in Florida. I was with my fiance, and yeah, it really sucked, but not for just the obvious reasons. You see, my car insurance at the time was like bare minimum. The bare minimum that I could have on my policy was some like coverage for injuries. Okay, I have the official documents here of what my auto insurance for the car that I crashed had. It was bodily injury, 25,000 per person and 50,000 per accident, and property damage, 25,000 each accident, no deductible. So yeah, that's basically all that my auto policy had for my poor ref, for my baby. It was given to me by my parents, and I wrecked it. And technically, I'm the one who was at fault for the accident, so that's another reason why it was so devastating. I was doing a left turn at an uncontrolled intersection. It was a local road, but I don't know, I can't remember how much the speed limit was there. It was maybe 40. It was near Davenport, Florida. It was Champions Gate. Now, Champions Gate, if you happen to be at that intersection and having to make a left turn, oh my god, just avoid that at all costs, because it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. I thought I would be far enough removed from this incident to be able to talk about it without feeling a lot of emotion. Anyway, I'm just gonna try to get through this. Anyway, so I remember there were 2 lanes in the road that I was trying to cross, and the lane that was closest to my side had stopped. They were trying to be nice and let me go, and I couldn't see the other lane. I assumed nobody was there, but that was wrong of me, because when I was making the turn, I was going pretty slow, and then all of a sudden, this white Tesla smashed into our side and tipped us onto our side. It smashed into the passenger seat because I was making a left turn. It was crazy, so surreal. It's the first time I've been in a major car accident, and it was just such a horrible, stressful day. And of course, that alone is difficult, but of course, what I mentioned before, what made it worse, was that my auto policy was so minimal that for the car that I have now, a 2024 Kia Forte, I didn't have anything from my policy to like transfer over to a new car. Plus, the day after that accident happened, okay, there's something else I have to mention about the day of the accident. But anyway, the day after the accident, we went to the tow yard where my car, the car that I wrecked, was taken. And because my auto policy was so minimal, we had a very difficult time figuring out what to do with my car, whether to sell it for parts or and like how to get it transported out of there, because of course it can't stay in the tow yard. Those guys at the tow yard, it was AATR in Davenport, they were amazing. They were doing their best to help us out, to try to get our car out of their tow yard. It was difficult. But then when I was talking with my parents, my dad said that he had a used car dealer that wanted to buy my car. He said he thinks he would be able to fix it up. Now, that car that I wrecked is a 2019 Toyota RAV4 hybrid. We were having trouble getting the engine to start because the computer inside wouldn't let it. When we were trying to manually jump start it. So we weren't having high hopes for this car. But the used car dealer that my dad had worked with, he really wanted a car. And he offered more than what the company that would just get the car and sell it for parts was offering. So we decided to get the car sold to him, and then we had to figure out a way to get it transported from Florida up to Connecticut, which is where he's located. So that was a whole other thing. The thing is, the accident happened the last day that we were on vacation, and then the day after was when we were supposed to drive back up here to Ohio. So we eventually got it figured out. It was pretty tough, and they still had to coordinate things after we left to go back up to Ohio, so my fiance could get back to work because he was scheduled to work the day after we started driving up. And I had the weekend to rest, and then Monday I got back to work, and I needed some of my coworkers' help to get me to and from. Well, I got help from my fiance for getting to work, and then my coworkers brought me from work to home. And we got that done for 2 weeks, and then I was of course looking for a car. I put a pretty good down payment on it, $8,000. And I've gotten through a pretty good chunk of the payment so far. But the main morals of my story, one that's really important, that I guess I thought many people would think of as a no-brainer, but of course it wasn't to me, because otherwise I wouldn't be in this predicament, having to pay off this car that just keeps depreciating. but it is to have a robust car insurance policy, especially if you're going on vacation. And you can always adjust your car policy to better fit your needs, especially if you're a new driver and if you have a new car, you need to have a robust auto insurance policy. And of course, I have that currently for my car now. So in case anything like what I went through happens again, at least I don't have to worry so much about the financial side and the coordination. That was also pretty difficult. Then my auto insurance would be able to take care of more of those logistics. Okay. And another thing I learned is those uncontrolled turns, especially uncontrolled left-hand turns, you want to avoid at all costs. Now, I was following a GPS, and yeah, I think being mindful, especially when you're on the local road of an area you're unfamiliar with, you should get the Waze app for that and toggle the option to avoid those uncontrolled turns. So I have learned those 2 lessons from this experience. Very traumatic, but lessons learned. Now, the day of the accident, it was a morning, and we were on our way to Sarasota for the beach, and we had gone off the exit so my fiance could get some coffee, and yeah, we hadn't gone very far out of Orlando, Kissimmee area, because we were down there for Disney initially, and yeah, just having a nice little spring getaway that ended horribly, but at least we got some nice vacation days in before that. Unfortunate. Anyway, so we went to this hospital, and it was absolutely awful, because for a while I was just sitting on this stretcher and the back of my head was hurting so bad. I feel like either because of the stretcher or because I feel like it was because of the stretcher, because of like how hard it is on the back of the head. And I don't know how long I was left in there to wait for somebody to come and check on me or transfer me to a bed with something softer for my head to rest on. But it was absolutely horrible. I mean, Florida is pretty notorious for a lot of car accidents, and yeah, so yeah, if you're ever down in Florida, make sure that your auto insurance is very, very robust. So at least you don't have to worry about the financial side so much. But anyway, I went through all the standard procedures for car crash patients. Did CT scans, all that stuff. And that's when they detected my spondylolisthesis, the vertebral slippage that's causing my back pain that has been going on for at least the past 9 years. And, well, side note, I'm gonna get surgery for that soon. But anyway, eventually I was released from the hospital. I didn't have many injuries apart from like a seatbelt bruise, and yeah. But then when we were at the tow yard later that day, we got an Uber from the hospital to go to the tow yard to take pictures of my wrecked car and also the wrecked car of the other party. Theirs was certainly totaled and could not be recouped, but ours, it turns out, it could. After I got the RAV4 to the used car dealer up in Connecticut, he was able to get it started again, so I guess he fixed it and was able to sell it off. I still miss that car. But yeah, that's why no more emotional attachments to things. I'm not a materialistic person, but that car was very special. It took us on a lot of trips, a lot of family trips down from Connecticut to Florida. The last major one that I had before this car accident, like with my immediate family from Connecticut, was in 2022 for Christmas, and that was that winter there was a big deep freeze on the whole East Coast, and Florida included. We were driving down in that weather, and it was crazy, but the car got us through it. I forgot to add, there was another road trip that I took with the RAV4, and that was actually the first road trip, or a one-way from Connecticut to my current home in Ohio. And yeah, basically I drove in the RAV4 from Connecticut down here to Ohio, but I parked the car in the local regional airport because from Ohio we were going down to the Florida Keys in a rental car that my parents were in. Oh, hello, Junie. Junie. Anyway, I don't know, Junie. So we continued down to the Florida Keys. We stayed there for a week. This was in the summer of 2023, with my immediate family and myself, except for my brother, who I don't know what he was doing. I think he was like working at summer camp or just working. I don't know. Anyway, after that week, I flew up from the Miami airport to the regional airport near here, and they have free parking there, so I could leave my car there, and it's secure, so my car was perfectly good when I got back. Anyway, I keep on rambling. Oh, another thing, and I think this is the last time that I used our regional airport, but I had to go pick up my fiance from Vermont, from his immediate family's home, so he could move down with me. And because we were also bringing my cat, Junie, who I just introduced you to, we stopped at Connecticut at my family's home to pick her up. And she's not an ESA, so we can't have her fly, and she would not fly with that well either. She doesn't do well in the car either. That was a pretty tough trip for all of us, but we got through it, and we're all here, happy family. And then some other road trips I took with that car, or with my fiance, we we went up to Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio, for a day trip, and then last October 2023, we went to Cincinnati and spent a couple days there. Yeah, but from now on, my Kia, I really don't feel any emotional connection to it, and I'm grateful, because if I lose it, I'm not gonna feel as bad as I did with my first car that I've owned, the RAV4. I still have to make payments on that, but they're interest-free payments to my parents. And I'll be continuing that after I pay off my Kia. But anyway, where was I? Okay, yeah, back to the tow yard on the day of the accident. We were taking pictures, and then all of a sudden I was starting to feel really nauseous, and then I ended up blowing chunks. Yeah. The thing is, after I was released from the hospital, the driver of the Tesla, she was perfectly fine. I don't know if she was checked out by the hospital or not, but she came out perfectly fine, but her husband, who was in the passenger seat, had passed out. But like she was very nice, almost too nice, but she got us Chick-fil-A, and so I gratefully ate some because I was hungry, but I ended up throwing that all up. And yeah, I threw up quite a lot, so like to the point that I nearly blacked out. I was starting to see those black dots. So they had to call another ambulance for me, and I was taken to a different hospital this time. And yeah, I was put on an IV. They did more CAT scans for me. And yeah, I technically, that was the afternoon I first got in there, but I had to stay through a good chunk of the night. And then we finally were able to get back to our hotel for a couple hours of rest, and then my fiance went and picked up a rental car that he got for us to take back, to drive back up to Ohio. And we had to go to the tow yard to figure out what to do with my car. And yeah, that's a story that I mentioned earlier in this video. Ooh. It was a lot. And yeah, I learned a lot from this experience. I'm very grateful for the lessons that I learned, and I hope that any of you people watching out there, especially young drivers, learn about this experience, understand the importance of insurance, not cutting corners with insurance, especially when driving in a high-risk area like Florida. Yeah, so that's all I'm gonna share about my car accident, because that's pretty much all there is to it. I do have another video coming up probably next week, because I have something pretty big going on next week, and yeah, I want to let you all in on it. I know it's pretty big, pretty personal, big deal. But again, just hoping it can be informational, educational for the people that I'm reaching. And I hope you all have a good one. See you real soon.